do you think the strength lies for Greg Berhalter's group?
I revert back to the player pool. And I think we've spoken about this. This is what makes or what gets fans so optimistic about this group, about them being a good team. It isn't the string of results over Mexico, albeit that's fun for the fans. That doesn't prove anything. Wins over the worst Mexican generation shouldn't prove anything. It's what you do against top teams, top quality teams that they've not done. But what gives you hope is the individual player pool. You can go down this list. You've never had such a vast player pool of players who are playing Champions League football, players who are important to their clubs in important leagues, important clubs, players who individually have already won Champions League, who are on some of the best teams in the world. It's the player pool that gets you excited. That's the biggest, I would say, strength, and will continue to be a strength because you have so many players littered around Europe and will continue to go to Europe. That's the biggest strength on this team.
Yeah, and that means depth too. And in a tournament,
of course,
where you go, if you go deep, and we don't know if they're going to go deep, but if they go deep, you're going to pick up injuries, you're going to pick up suspensions. Remember, there were areas like at the number 9 where they kind of ran out of depth in Qatar. You hope they're just a little bit deeper maybe in some of those key areas should they go deep here in the Copa America. My strength here is a little bit different. It's a position, very specifically the wing play. I think if we look at this U.S. pool and you look at not just the guys who start, your Christian Pulisic and Tim Weahs, I think those are your lockdown starters, but the guys behind them who can give you a little bit difference, that's where your strength, and that's frankly, Herc, where most of your goals are coming from. I know a lot of people point to Gio Reyna, and he's a very creative player in the middle, but when you watch this team in big games, it is Christian Pulisic over and over and over again who's either scoring or creating the goals for others. We saw it against Brazil. I'll never forget the way he laid his body on the line in the World Cup against Iran for that goal that put them into the knockout rounds. And Tim Weah, for me, is the same. I know he's not coming in hot like Christian Pulisic is right now. But if you think about what Weah has been for the national team, it's a consistent role, and he's always getting in behind. He's always trouble for the opponents. He's always dangerous. And I haven't even mentioned somebody like Haji Wright, who I know we think of as a number 9, or we've discussed mostly as a number 9, but clearly Berhalter sees him as a player that can play out on the wing. It's what he did mostly in a very successful club season as well. And even somebody, Herc, like Brendan Aronson, I think, who didn't have a great season, can be a very useful player off the bench late in the game. If you tell me where is this team deep and where is this team good and where are the goals likely to come from on this team, I'm pointing to the wings. And it's hard to really point too many other places.
Yeah, I'll get to why those wingers have the opportunities they have in a bit. Did you see that list? It's Christian Pulisic behind Vinny Jr., who's going to be a candidate for the Ballon d'Or. And then you have Rafinha, who plays for Barcelona, and Savio, who's one of the best wingers in the world, had a hell of a season with Girona. That is where Christian Pulisic is today in terms of wingers in this tournament. That should show you how much of